Yep.
If you didn't watch last week's, it was more of our personal testimony, and we played a really fun game.
Yeah, definitely go back and check out last week. Big part of that was sharing our testimony. We felt like it was important in that very first video to kind of give you the foundation of our faith, because that if you don't have that foundation, honestly, none of the rest of it really matters. So that was why we wanted to start with that. But yeah, definitely check that one out.
We officially started dating when we were 17.
Which time?
The second time. We had known each other since we were 15 or so. Same friend group. Mm-hmm. They heavily suggested that we date.
Yeah.
Heavily against it.
Yeah. 3 dates, none of them stuck.
Nope. That was the end of our junior year.
Mm-hmm.
Went through summer and then came back our senior year of high school, and we had AP Calculus together, which was an all-year class. Mm-hmm. And then
Jennie's favorite class in all of school.
I've only failed one class through 12 years or 13 years of school, and that was it.
Yeah. Towards the end of early into our senior year.
Yeah,
not towards the end. September 30th. October 30th. October 30th
yes.
was our first date.
It was the day before Halloween. We went to the movies.
Yeah, October 30th was our first date, day before Halloween.
Our second first date.
And that one stuck.
Yep,
that's what we always say, because I drove Dad's Mercury Grand Marquis, a big
white car.
Big white car.
Really cool.
Yep. That was what we drove on our first date.
Yep. And then we obviously continued to date.
Yep.
We were seniors in high school, so just kind of life was pretty carefree.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't, I worked, I had a job. What?
I didn't.
We know.
I worked
into that.
Okay. I worked around home. I mean, I did stuff for Dad, odds and ends. We grew up on a farm, so I had cows and had to feed cows and work on a bobcat or whatever. I mean, we did
whatever.
Yeah, we did all kind of stuff.
As we were dating, so Ott was allowed to go out 2 times a week, and whether that was fishing a tournament, going on a date, whatever it was. So we would fish a tournament one night, and then we would go on a date one night.
Mm-hmm.
Is typically how our week went. The first time he ever took me fishing, he nearly hit me in the head with a fish. Like, literally set the hook, and the fish comes flying over my head.
Any of you all who have, anytime you're flipping, so you're close quarters, you're pitching a bait out there, you get a bite, you set the hook really hard, flipping. That's just what you do. Yeah. Well, if the fish happens to be like, you're expecting a fish this big, so you set the hook really hard, but the fish happens to be that big, it typically comes out of the water at a high rate of speed.
I think I felt it go across my head.
Yeah. I think that was the first fish I caught that day with you in the boat. And so she's like, didn't even know what just happened.
I don't know what kind of trip this is. But
yeah, flying fish trip.
Yeah. So, continue dating. Actually, he was already destined to go to Tennessee Tech in Cookeville. Mm-hmm. His dad and his brother was already there. They had a house, so that's where he was headed.
Yep.
I went to the campus, fell in love with it. My favorite color is purple. Couple
Purple
hours
gold.
from home. It was perfect.
Yep.
There were 3 things I thought I knew for sure. One, I knew I wanted to be married, wanted to have lots of babies. Those 2 are still factual. And then I always thought I wanted to be a teacher. Well, I did a internship my senior year in high school with the first grade class. I didn't want to be a teacher anymore.
Nope.
And not because I dislike kids or anything. It was just so heavy on my heart. Like, I was just like, I don't know that I could do this every day and have the weight of that. I'm thankful for teachers.
Extremely.
I love to sub at school, but having the weight of that, I just knew. Like, I was just like, I can't.
Yeah, we were dating during that time, and she was like, she got really, after just a couple of weeks of it, you got pretty down because you were like, this is what my plan. My whole
path was teaching.
This was the last semester of high school. I'm going to be a teacher all of high school. That's where I'm going to head. And then here in my last semester, I go try it out, and it's like, oh no, this ain't for me.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So go to college, and of course we're still dating at this time. And I don't even know what your career path was there, but I
business.
I think I may have changed mine to business just because I was like, we're taking regular classes anyways.
Yeah. For your first semester of college, it's just the standard workload.
Exactly. And so, but I struggled because I was like, I don't know, maybe I want to be a nurse or, I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. I was sure I wanted to be a wife and mom, which I think I told Ott that somewhere on a date whenever he was very serious when we were dating. Like our third date. Yeah. He said, was it our third date?
Yeah.
Okay, that he pretty much said, if a girl tries to make me choose between her or fishing, I'm going to choose fishing.
I said, I've always fished. And whoever this girl is hasn't been around as long as fishing has.
Yeah.
So whether that's you or...
And my thought is I'm 17. Just buy my dinner. And I told him, I'm not looking to marry you. Like, I just want you to buy my dinner.
Yeah.
Which ironically, like somewhere soon after that, he tells me it's okay for the girl to pay for dinner. Because his work allowance money went towards fishing tournaments.
Well, I had to pay entry fees.
Here I am with a job, working.
I had to go to Bass Pro and buy stuff. I mean... But
and now I'm paying for dates.
She's still here.
I know.
Just saying.
It baffles me when I see what.
Yeah.
But it's all right. So back to college. We're here, and I hate it. Like, I mean, I liked being at college. I lived in the dorm. Like being away from home. Kind of doing our own thing. That part wasn't bad, but I was like, I am wasting my mom and dad's money. Like, I just...
Yeah,
I was
no direction,
so
no
lost.
career
I had
path,
no idea what I wanted to do. And Ott's over here. He's like, well, I'm going to fish. And looking at the spring fishing schedule, I'm not coming back. Like, I can't I can't do both because they did not have fishing in college. Like, none of that was an option.
That was not the college fishing deal hadn't took off yet. And for me, it was, I knew I could go in the fall, but I would have to miss so much in the spring. I was like, maybe I can fish in the spring and then do summer and fall school was kind of what my thought was. So I knew midway through that fall semester, kind of the same way, I had a direction I wanted to go. If staying in school worked, if it didn't interfere with it, so be it. But it was not my priority by any means. So I wanted to just, to get through that semester, go fishing in the spring. And by going fishing, I'm talking about fishing the Everstarts, where I'll be traveling and be fishing like 4 big events that year. That was really what I was looking forward to, for sure. And
I mean, when we talked about it, like, it was just kind of, he was going to be traveling, and I didn't know what the heck I was going to be doing. And I think maybe the first plan was I was going to stay at school, you were going to go home.
Yeah.
Then you told me I had to come visit you.
Yeah.
You were going to come visit.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out
like,
how...
it was like we were trying to navigate, okay, well, how can we make this work? Still see each other and be together as much as we can, but, like, with his stuff, it was just, finally we were just like, let's just get married.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, that was about as...
Yeah, that's about how far we thought it out.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was...
Like, well, if we get married...
Yeah, it's like, we can get married, then we could live together, whatever, and that was, for us, we didn't, we didn't want to be apart, obviously, but if I was traveling in the springtime, but she stayed in school fall and spring.
Plus, I was going home and working. Like, I would come home on the weekends and work at the restaurant I was working at.
So it was just, there was no way that we were going to be truly together a lot unless we were actually married, because then I think we were even looking at, like, places on campus that married people. If you were married, you could live.
Because we were like, we had this plan, because not only did we like have to live it out, but we had to present this to our parents.
Right.
That was next step. Here we are. We're 18.
You're 19.
19, 18, whatever. I was 19. He was 18.
Actually, we weren't then, because this was in the fall. I was.
You weren't even 18.
I
you were
wasn't
17.
Even 18.
I never realized that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, very young children at college coming up with this idea of, hey, let's get married.
Yeah.
And so, and a thing about Ott and I both is we are both very determined people. So kind of when we have our mindset, it's...
full steam ahead.
Yeah.
Basically.
Even if it's a really stupid decision, it's still full steam ahead.
Yep.
So we tried to like weigh out all of our options to see what we could afford, and I'm like, well, I'm wasting my parents' money. So
and you could be making money.
I could be making a lot of money.
She was in high school, and the summer after high school, before going to college, she worked at a restaurant in Dandridge, waited tables, and would make $400 to $600, $700. I mean, $400 to $600 a week. You know, pretty regular. So for a high school kid to be making that a week, she was doing pretty well, and you know, could afford to do whatever she wanted to, pretty much.
Yeah. So I was like, I could go home, like I work, and then my dad was running a construction company. And I'm like, I know he'll give you a job, and he'll let you off to go fishing. So in our minds, we have got this.
We've got it whooped.
You know, we're good. Yeah. So we pick out a ring. We actually, I don't know if this person will ever watch this, but I had picked out a ring that was on sale, like in a magazine. And I like had it pinned up on my board, and so I was like, let's just go see if they have it.
In Cookeville,
Tennessee.
Yep.
And so I think it was a case.
Sounds right.
So we go in, and I'm like, you know, I'm looking for it, and I'm like, oh, it's not here. Like, they must have already sold it. And so we asked the lady, and she's like, well, actually, another couple already put it on hold. They did not pay a deposit, so I can't not show it to you. And if you pay a deposit, then it's yours. Like, they knew the risk when they didn't put a deposit. And so I'm like, can we please see the ring? Yeah. And so, sure enough, it was it. And, before that, Ott made me roll all of his change. No.
Once we went and put the deposit on it, then you had to roll the change, wasn't it?
I don't know.
But either way, I
came with a lot of stipulations.
Well, you're still here. I had a bucket that I had put change. I mean, from every dollar I'd ever spent, whatever change I got went in this bucket. From the time I started spending money. I mean, that was all the change I ever had. I never done anything with it. I just put it in this big jar. Yep. So that ring was $450. Mm-hmm. Is that what it was? And out of that change, she rolled $350. I had to put $100 bill with it to buy her engagement ring in Cookeville, Tennessee, at a Case Jeweler.
Yeah, but in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So then we bought the ring, and then, gosh, it wasn't long after, because he couldn't stand it, I couldn't stand it. Like, I knew he had a ring, so we just proposed already.
Yeah. I called her dad from down there.
Yeah. I called my dad.
Yeah.
He proposed, and then we came back. It was like on September 2nd, because I think we came back on your dad's birthday, and we may have just surprised them with the news.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds pretty right.
They had some questions.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do about this? So how are you going to afford to do that? And
yep.
We said, we don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. That was kind of our answer.
That was
As all parents of 17, 18-year-olds want to hear that their kids are engaged, and they're just going to figure it out. Yeah, going to quit college. Yeah. But yeah, that was definitely where we were.
And remember, not every path is the same.
No. So, and you know,
we're not recommending.
Right. Yeah, this isn't recommendation. This is just history lesson.
Yes.
But the thing with this is, even though we weren't active in church together or apart really during this time.
We would every now and then. Like, we would go with his parents some. We would go with my parents.
Yeah.
We kind of we church hopped at that time.
We did.
Because we were young, so of course his parents wanted us to come with them, and so sometimes we would go with his mom at the Methodist church, sometimes at the Baptist church, and then my parents went to Methodist church. So we church hopped a lot. Yeah,
wherever we were at the time, that's where we would. It's kind of where we would go.
Yep.
But it wasn't like it wasn't
a priority.
No, it was just that was.
If we wanted them to buy us lunch after church on Sunday,
we'd go to church.
We'd go to church with that family.
That's
being honest.
Yeah, that was. Where y'all eating tomorrow?
Yeah.
Where y'all eating after church? Okay, we'll go with you.
Let's go with your parents.
Yeah, and if we wanted to eat in Dandridge, then we'd go with yours. Yep. That's pretty much the way it worked.
Yep.
But yeah, so that and once we were engaged, that first year fishing those ever starts, I only had a couple decent finishes, but one of them was a top 10, and it was funny that first year. Very first tournament was on Okeechobee. I'm like, this is awesome. This is where my love of bass fishing really began. 200 boats in the tournament, and I had never, other than those trips from as a kid, I hadn't been back to Florida, so I'm 18 or something. It's been, been quite a while, and I've only just read and watched videos about it at that point. But out of 200 people, I beat 13. So it was a really solid start to my semi-professional fishing career. The next event was actually on Lake Eufaula down in Alabama, and after 2 days, I was leading, and ended up finishing 6th in that event. In between those two, one of the jobs that I worked for Jennie's dad, for my future father-in-law at that point, when I was working for him, we were working on a basement addition in the Dandridge golf course. And the biggest thing I remember about that was this block wall that was barely just had enough overdig to where I had to get down in there between that, and I had to put buckets of tar on that concrete block to waterproof it. And her dad was telling me, "You won't do bad in that next tournament, will you?" And so I went to that next tournament with a fire lit under me, and after 2 days I was leading and ended up having a 6th place finish in it. So that was definitely very good motivation for my future father-in-law at that point.
Yeah, which is funny because like my dad grew up fishing, hunting, and all that stuff. So I think back now as like if Abby were to come home to us and be like, "Oh, I'm going to go out on the water with this, with a friend in my class that's 17 on a boat." And I thought, well, my parents were crazy. Like,
yeah, they were.
They were just, sure, he's, going to come pick
he
you up,
seems like
haul
a
the
good
boat.
kid.
Yeah, but my dad was my mom was very confident. I wish she was sitting here right now and she would tell you all how confident she was that I was going to marry him and how mad she was that I was not dating him the first time she met him. She loves to tell that story.
Yeah.
They
knew what they saw.
That's just funny to me to look back on that and think, they were. But my dad was never. My parents were 19 when they got married, so they were young. They knew the struggles that we were more than likely about to embark on. Yeah. That we were pretty blinded by.
But they had also saw that they were successful in that as well.
Yeah. So I think they were sad because they probably. They did. They knew that it was going to be a struggle, even though we were just oblivious to all that.
Yeah. Where my parents were definitely more hesitant to it. No doubt about it. My dad was 47 when I was born.
And your mom was 27 and 30, or 28 and 30 when you and Sonny were born. So they were definitely much older parents than mine were young. Yeah. So,
and that's also with Dad though, being older as he was, and us growing up. There's nothing I would have changed about it. But he's made the comment before where he's like, I wish I would have been younger to be able to do more things with y'all. By the time that I was playing baseball and that kind of stuff, he did coach for my brother and I, but it was hard on him. Trying to get out there and run around the field and that kind of stuff. It definitely was harder on him than it would have been had he been younger. So I'm not going to say that was like a huge driving force on my end, but I didn't see any negative in it either. It's like, let's get married and get our life started.
Yeah. So that's what we did.
Yeah, that's what we did. August the 7th, 2004. Yeah. And get out. We got married in 4. Abby was born in 7. The twins were 11. It's just hard to keep it all right.
It is.
But
well, you should fill the paperwork with them.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll put Abby's birth date with the twins' birth year. Yeah. Or vice versa. I always give them.
Easy to mix them up. But yeah, August the 7th, 2004 was when we got married. And it was neat because the pastor that married us was Jennie's youth pastor. And
who is still is the pastor in Dandridge of the church we went to, the Methodist church there. Yeah. And I'm thankful that his parents compromised because of his mom going to church at the Methodist church, which is a little church over in Asbury. Yeah. I told Odd, I was like, well, it'd be really cool to have like both of our past. Like, we asked at Asbury, I was like, can I bring my pastor in? He's a Methodist pastor. Can he marry us? But we want to get married in this building because that was Ott's childhood. And then, John was definitely the most constant in my life. So everybody agreed. Yeah. And so we were able to get married there, where Ott had been at church and with my youth pastor officiating.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah. Yep, no doubt. Anything else to add to that one, or is that?
I don't think so. I think we'll kind of maybe end that there. We're 18 and 19 married.
Yep.
Let's see what the future holds.
Let's see what the future holds. Yep. So thanks for watching, and be sure to come back next week. We'll really kind of talk about how we got, where we went from there. I mean, what married life for an 18.
And not only a month. You turn 19 a month later.
Well, but it's still, I count that month very highly.
Yes.
But yeah, so kind of what that looks like, and where God was, the seeds that He was planting and stirring and working in our lives at that point in time.